Hello, I'm David Broadhead and welcome to the business programme here on Kirklees Local TV. It's an unfortunate twist of human nature that we always tend to focus on the negative and ignore the positive opportunities. Here in Kirklees it would be easy to concentrate on the perceived economic decline with the contraction of the textile, chemical and manufacturing industries, the impact of low skills and low wages, plus the outcommute into nearby cities of something like 25,000 people a day. However, there are significant positives and opportunities, and Kirklees Council has now published an economic strategy designed to improve our community and build local wealth through inclusivity and productivity. To help me briefly explore what this strategy is and how it will be actioned is today's guest, Angela Blake, Service Director for Economy and Skills at Kirklees Council. Angela, thank you for joining us today, and can I start by asking you about your role here in Kirklees and what the new economic strategy is intended to achieve?
Hello, thank you for inviting me onto your show today. I'm fairly new to Huddersfield and to Kirklees Council. I joined the organisation earlier this year. I've come from a background in regeneration and economic development, and I'm hoping to bring some of that skill and learning and be able to deliver the ambition that Kirklees Council have got for the district. The economic strategy was adopted by the council in March this year, and that comes on the back of a recently adopted local plan. So the strategy really sets out about how we're going to deliver those economic elements of the local plan over the next 5 years. So it focuses on some of our key priority areas, but and how we're going to take this forward. It's not just about the council. I think that's one thing that I really need to emphasise. This is an economic strategy for the district, and the council plays an important role in that, but it can't deliver the ambition of the borough without key stakeholders and other partners involved. So it's about how we bring those other anchor institutions and those other key stakeholders on board to help us deliver that greater ambition for Kirklees.
Okay, so it is about the council involving the whole business community in making that happen. There's a wonderful sort of navigational anecdote along the lines of, if you want to get to a certain place, then it's best not to start from here. Now, Kirklees might not be the economic powerhouse of the past, but it does have some key strengths and great opportunities, doesn't it? Have these been clearly identified in the strategy, and what do you think they are?
They have, absolutely. Kirklees, its location is a really big thing that we need to emphasise and to play on. So the opportunities that's bringing, equidistance between Leeds and Manchester is huge for us, given on the back of the creative industries particularly, and that's one thing that I've noticed coming into Kirklees from another area, that the interest that we're getting from investors is significant in that field.
That's promising.
And because it's a competitively priced area to base your business, and you can reach Leeds and Manchester in 20 minutes, it's really building on those types of opportunities, while also not turning our back on the current industry that we've got in Kirklees. Manufacturing is still significant, even though there's a decline in manufacturing nationally. We still employ 25,000 people in that field, in this area, particularly around the textiles, advanced engineering and manufacturing, and we're still seeing significant growth in that, and our new employment sites we're bringing forward, we're still seeing significant investment potential in the manufacturing industry going forward.
Yeah, so it's sort of build on the strengths of the past and build on the opportunities of the future as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there are 5 fundamental priority areas that the strategy is built around, with 12 associated action programmes and 5 big wins. Can we explore those in a little bit more detail now? The first is focused around modern, innovative businesses. What does that mean exactly, and how will it be actioned, along with delivering the big win of a digital innovation zone by 2021?
Yeah, Kirklees is innovating a lot of new businesses. Unfortunately, not the survival rates of those is not as high as we would want it to be. There's a huge amount of innovation going on at the university and at the college through 3M BIC, through the manufacturing processing centre, and it's about how we can maximise on those opportunities and work with local businesses and working with the university. So the digital innovation zone is very much about us working with the university and creating that space to enable those new businesses to spin out and to develop and to become successful businesses going forward.
Okay, so we may have been a great sort of textile and manufacturing centre in the past, but in the future it is very much about becoming digital innovation, exciting and looking forward.
It's being focused on how manufacturing industry is going to change. Moving to looking at AI, robotics, automation,
3D
and making
printing,
sure
all those sorts of things.
absolutely, and making sure we've got the place to be able to do that and to be able to develop that, and the support in place to be able to help those businesses to be successful.
Yeah, excellent. Now the second priority is about skilled and ambitious people. Obviously that's a fantastic opportunity through raising aspiration in particular, but maybe the plan's got a bit short on detail, is it yet?
Yeah, I mean there's quite a lot happening in this area already through some of the ESIF funding that we received, and the Works Better programme's an example of that, which has had significant European funding in to get people work ready, but also looking at how it can develop and increase skills fit that are required by local businesses. What we're trying to take forward is a more coherent approach to how we deliver a learning and skills plan, and that's something that we'll be commissioning out very, very soon. So it's looking at the pathway from 0 to 19 adult learning, and having a real clear learning and skills strategy that with key stakeholders, working with businesses, looking at what the future skills needs are of the area, and looking at how the university and the college can position themselves to be able to deliver those skills for our local residents. There's a lot of investment coming into Kirklees over the next 5 years, specifically around construction, with Transpennine rail upgrades, huge amount of highway improvements that are taking place, a big build programme for housing development, and we need to capture all that, look what the skills are of the future, and get people ready for those opportunities.
And of course the digital infrastructure as well,
Absolutely.
That's going to underpin that.
Yeah, and the demand for skills, the demand for people is going to be significant. That actually we probably, just by skilling our local people, are still going to be struggling to meet the demand of those businesses going forward.
So there's more we can look forward to seeing on that in the future then.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the third area is about active partnerships and the development of what's called the Kirklees Anchors network.
Yeah.
What is that exactly, and how is that going to develop the local supply chain?
That's looking at a number of things, but predominantly about how the public sector can work better together, and looking at how we can work closer with with the NHS, again with the university and the college, and how we can be more efficient in working together as a partnership in terms of looking at efficiencies in supply chains. How can we procure maybe jointly together for some of the bigger things that we go out for, that were maybe somebody from out of the area supplying to us. So how can we get local people and local businesses be able to supply into the public sector? It's a bit lead by example.
Okay.
It's got its challenges with it, because you've got public sector procurement rules that we have to consider, but looking how we can go out to the local market and say these are the opportunities for supplying to some of the anchor institutions in the area, and developing the local businesses to be able to do that, so then that they're ready to go on and develop and supply to other organisations out of Kirklees. It's very much about passing that opportunity on.
Priority 4 is the really exciting and transparent one of advanced connectivity and infrastructure, and we can already see aspects of that with City Fibre's activity here in Huddersfield. What else is planned underneath that, and is it deliverable in the timescales here?
Yes, it's a huge challenge going forward in terms of the infrastructure requirements, and that's looking at our transport infrastructure, predominantly around road and rail, which is, for us going forward, there's a programme of delivery that we need to take forward in the next 5 years. We've secured somewhere in the region of £150 million worth of funding through the West Yorkshire Combined Authority to deliver on a number of significant highway improvement schemes, which it's about opening up land for employment, opening up land for housing, but also that freedom of movement in and out of the borough for businesses. We've got the Transpennine rail upgrade, which is again going to bring significant investment into the borough. You've mentioned City Fibre, that's a £30 million investment. We've got other providers that are interested in investing in Kirklees, so we're talking to a number of people at the moment that are looking at that infrastructure investment into the town, and we've got a get those programmes up and running and delivered while that funding's available in the next 5 years. You're aware of the Huddersfield Blueprint that was launched last week.
Hence the badge.
Which is focused on Huddersfield Town Centre and how we're looking at the regeneration of the town centre. Again, huge infrastructure requirements around that in terms of accessibility, the future use of those buildings, connecting different areas of the town.
And that links us on very nicely to the priority 5, doesn't it, which is about revitalising the key centres in Kirklees of Huddersfield Town Centre. We've got North Kirklees and Dewsbury, and then South Kirklees and the rural areas. We've already seen the publication, as you've mentioned, of the Huddersfield Town Centre Blueprint. When are the other 2 aspects going to come out, and when are they going to be published, and are there any tasters you could let us in on the secret of what's going to be in there?
This is probably one of the most exciting priorities in the economic strategy, and it's created a real buzz over the last week on the back of the launch of the blueprint. And you know, the amount of people that have come and said how proud they felt to be at the event, and how excited they are about seeing what the future plans are for Huddersfield has been amazing. And you know, personally, I'm looking forward to being part of that journey and delivering that, and just, you know, looking up when you walk around Huddersfield and seeing the stunning architecture that we've got in the town. Exactly, and you know, thinking about what that can offer going forward is just such a huge opportunity, and I think that's where the council's really shown this an ambition and how proud it is of the heritage and of what Huddersfield has to offer. And the Dewsbury plan's already in delivery. So the investment plan for Dewsbury was adopted much quieter a couple of years ago, and part of the North Kirklees growth zone is part of the Dewsbury delivery plan. There's been improvements around the station area of Dewsbury. That again was part of the delivery plan for Dewsbury. There's a lot more to do there, and we're working with local partners now to look at how we take some of that forward. Kirklees College and moving into Pioneer House is another example. Yes. And they're looking at other options in Dewsbury. We're looking at the market and how we can revitalise the market area in Dewsbury. There's a employment site coming forward that we're working with the church commissioners on, which is the Chidswell development site. So there is a lot of activity already happening there. It's just maybe not being presented in the same way as the Huddersfield Blueprint has. In terms of South Kirklees, we're working with partners at the moment, and we're looking at the opportunities for South Kirklees and the rural areas. A lot of that is starting with how we can get that digital infrastructure into the rural areas, which we're talking to City Fibre about and other providers about. You know, how can we make sure they've got the same opportunities as Huddersfield and Dewsbury. So there's a lot happening and a lot of conversations taking place, and you know, a lot of stuff that was identified and adopted as part of the local plan, and we're working well as a team with a number of partners on how we can take this forward. Exciting times. They
are exciting times, and it's fantastic to listen to sort of the ambition and the aspiration that's there from the council to make it happen. I mean, many years ago, a lot of sceptics might have said that the economic strategy of Kirklees was not to be as bad as our neighbours, and then we seem to fail to achieve that, which is sort of a cynical view, and it's certainly not the case now. And I certainly look forward to seeing how the strategy evolves in the immediate future and the economic benefits it's going to bring to everybody. So finally, I'd like to thank my guest Angela Blake once again, and I look forward to seeing you next time here on the business programme on Kirklees Local TV. Goodbye.